Okay guys, so we're going to go over the different phases of the snatch. I'll start with the classic style, which is typically what I'd recommend you start with. And I'm going to do it here body weight, which might be a little funny, but hopefully it gives you an idea of the different phases and different ways of shifting your weight and a few different things like that. So let's get started. So we're in fixation here. So just breathe as normal. I typically would count my out breaths. So when I finish my hand insertion, I might breathe out as it glides into the fixation, and then 1, 2, 3 out breaths is usually what I do for my slow pace. 1, 2, medium, just one solid out breath is a fast pace, and then if I just do the one short sharp out breath and I don't have an in breath, that's kind of my sprinting pace. Okay, so from here you're going to shift backwards. So that's the drop phase. So notice that I supinate or turn my hand. So that's going to bring the kettlebell facing down. It's still diagonally across my hand, so I'm getting it ready for the re-gripping phase where I transition the bell from my palm to my fingertips. So that is my re-gripping. So the kettlebell has rolled off. I kind of like to think of it keeping my elbow up, and that kind of throws the kettlebell into my fingers. So I've got a slightly bent arm, my weight's slightly back to counterbalance the kettlebell going out, and then I smoothly lengthen my arm out as I get the finger lock. Now I've done my backswing. So ideally your legs are straight here, relax quads if you can. Then we have our forward swing phase, so I reposition. So it's almost like a transition in the Olympic weightlifting. So into our power position, we don't call it that, but I'm just using that as an analogy. And now we have our acceleration pull where I power it up. And again, it's coming back to that position where the hand is slightly bent, and we're transitioning. So I typically try to get my hand through around 11 o'clock. Then I just glide it back into fixation, bicep close to ear. So I'll do a couple with the kettlebell starting from fixation. So just breathing as normal. So that's a slow drop phase coming back down. So there we go. So that's my drop phase. You can bend your knees more or less depending on your personal preference. So that's sort of the drop phase. I've counterbalanced backwards, both weight into my heels. Then I roll it around. So that's my hand insertion phase. And now for my backswing phase, my arm slowly lengthens out. Okay, and so I've gone from weight in my heels to shifting my weight forward to counterbalance the swing there. All right. So from here we've got our forward swing phase. So here I'm getting into a position where I can apply my power or my force into the ground. So I'm just sort of repositioning myself, and then I can explosively drive through the ground, and that's my acceleration pull. So I have a slight bend. There's my hand insertion phase. Again, it's around 11 o'clock, and then I can glide it back into that position. So here's a couple reps from the side. And a couple from the front. Notice that I don't go too far outside of my torso on the drop phase or the upwards phase with this classic style of kettlebell snatch. So here I'll do a bit of a demo of the modern style, and like I mentioned, I typically would recommend starting with classic style because it has all the phases and it's a little bit simpler. So modern style, we're actually going to have the same fixation, except I'm shifting my weight onto one side of my leg, So as the kettlebell goes forward, with both snatches you shift away. Because the kettlebell goes sort of straight forward, you just shift straight back with the classic style snatch, whereas this one, because it goes on a bit of an angle, we shift more onto one leg. Oops. Turn that off. Okay, so then I have my re-gripping phase, which I've rotated around. My arm's pretty straight, and so now I'm going to transition onto the other leg. So my weight is now more on this side because the kettlebell's gone through my legs, and so my weight's predominantly there, so I'm counterbalancing the kettlebell that way. And then as I shift up, getting into my acceleration pull, powering it away. So again, I'm back as the kettlebell goes up, I'm back onto this leg and inserting my hand, gliding back through. So again, just shifting back. And I should say, with both swings or snatches, typically when we flex down, when we're doing it for more endurance, we would use our anatomical breathing. So I'm going to be breathing out here, and as I stand up and expand, I breathe in. So I'm just trying to work with the compression and expansion of my rib cage. Then people like to breathe out when they do their hand insertion phase, and then just breathe. Just think about the out breaths when you're in fixation to sync your breathing. So I'll do a couple of breaths here. Oh, sorry, a couple of reps. I didn't bother doing the super slow-mo. There you go. So you can see that the kettlebell is going much further outside my body. I'm shifting to the side. So you've got the back and forth and the side to side balancing with that one. Hope that helps, guys. Let me know if you have any questions.